Well, good Monday morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for joining us. It is Monday, the 31st of July. It is month end in Trinidad and Tobago. And welcome to the Power Breakfast Show for the last day of the month of July. Thank you for joining us this morning as we take you through your paces this Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Yeah, Steve is off today, so you'll have to bear with me this morning with all the drama. You know how it goes. Anyway, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us this morning. Lots to discuss this morning as we go about. Let me see if I can get this this message thing on so I can see who messaged us this morning as we start the day today. Let me see. Are you hearing me now?
Right. I'm now hearing you. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
What happened there? Morning. Morning, Paul. Morning, Steve. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers. I hope I'm being heard.
Well, I think I did some nonsense here, so let's try to rectify this.
All right. But I am hearing you now. I wasn't hearing you for a while.
You're hearing me?
I am hearing you. With a bit of an echo, but I am hearing you.
I think I did some nonsense, but I'm trying to sort it out.
But we are live on YouTube because I'm looking at my YouTube screen.
I think I know what I did.
Huh?
You're seeing us on YouTube?
I am seeing us.
I think I know what I did. I did some nonsense here. I'm just rectifying it now.
All right. I have my volume down though, so I don't know if I'm getting messages, but my phone is away from me because it's
right. This should have rectified it. You hearing me now?
Yes, very loud and clear.
Right, good. Right, good. So good morning to you, Wendy. Let me take off this microphone.
Yes, something else is on because you're getting our feedback.
Right. I think everyone should be hearing us now, right?
Right. I hope so too.
You could talk so we'll know.
I am talking.
Right.
Are you hearing me?
Good. Wonderful. Right. Whew, it's going to be a drama this morning. It's good to be.
I think I
it's
forgot
good to be one of those
Steve
mornings. Let me just put it that way. Anyway, good morning to you. How was your weekend?
I had a cough. Yes, I had a fantastic weekend. Yesterday, of course, we had a nice time. Or we had an event called One Brunch. It was absolutely wonderful. The weather held well, and we all had a good time. People came out in their ethnic, their tradition, their African wear. Let me not mix it up. Their African wear in numbers, and we really had a fantastic time. Of course, tomorrow is African Emancipation Day, so there'll be the parades in Port of Spain. There'll be the village has been opened. The Emancipation Village opened at the Queen's Park, Savannah. And the Asante King arrived yesterday. And there's a cocktail. I was invited to a cocktail reception tomorrow. The crew that went to Kumasi, Ghana and met him, we were all invited to a reception tomorrow at Hilton, I think. So I will attend that. So I look forward to being in
a lot of the activities taking place at the Hilton because I know am going to a business international forum later on today.
Okay. All right. That where the king will be involved?
I think yes. I think so.
Okay. Great. Great. That's great, man. Great. 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 Meeting an African king, especially the African king, the king of the Ashantis, is something that that I had looked forward to when I went to Kumasi last year. And so I look forward to meeting him on our soil. He did indicate to us when we were there last year that he was invited by the Prime Minister to come for Emancipation Day and that he was accepting the invitation. At the point in time, though, we didn't think we would be in office because remember an election was due 2 months after we went to Kumasi. And he did tell the mayor, "You will be in office." I don't know. He just said it. He said, "Don't worry, you will be in office." He told the mayor that at the point in time, Anas. And so when the term was extended by the year, we say, hey, but this man knows something we don't know.
Are you talking about the councillors?
Well, right. So, but we, the councillors, are not in office, but the mayor certainly is. And but we'll be happy to meet him, of course, when we go there tomorrow.
Okay. So what has it's a pretty big. Would you say it's a bigger than usual Emancipation celebration with the
I think so.
king?
I suspect so because we have had African leaders come for emancipation in the past, but I think he is probably the biggest guest that we'll be having in terms of a presence from Africa. We have had the president of Uganda here. We have had the president of I can't remember the nations, but Museveni. I remember him coming. And there was someone else who came too, but we've never had. I think the Ashanti king, Utumfo, is probably our biggest guest coming out of Africa. So
the dinner reception is tomorrow.
Yeah, that one is tomorrow. There are quite a few receptions in his honor over the next few days, but this cocktail reception, this is the start of the receptions. And that is held tomorrow on Emancipation Day.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure. I was in Port Space, it's right, you were on Savannah, and there were lots of people going into the village. A lot of traffic being directed. There were 2 marches in Port Spain yesterday. One was, I think, stop human trafficking.
Okay.
They were dressed in blue T-shirts at the western. The exit to the Savannah, the place where the fanciers usually exit and Carnival and the bands usually exit, they were set up there.
Blue T-shirts,
yeah. And there was another, I think, a gay pride march further down in Port Spain, down on Tragrit Road. Okay. The police were out to the full force yesterday.
All right. They normally do that in June.
Well, I don't know. I saw it happening yesterday.
All right.
And what else? And yes, a lot of traffic going into the Queen's Festival. Right. They finally seem to have resolved that issue related to the vendors. Moving the vendors to the entrance to the Savannah, where they usually are set up to allow for people entering the Emancipation Village.
Right.
And I think they moved them over.
Avenue side.
The Gillingham Avenue area there, that little strip heading to Gillingham Avenue. So they were accommodated there because that was a big issue for a couple of weeks.
Right.
In and around the Savannah. Of course, I can see both sides. On one hand, people want to apply the trade because that's the livelihood. On the other hand, it's the Savannah mouth. So if you're having an event in the Savannah, it stands to reason that you will not be able to set up there.
Yeah. And they normally move them for Carnival and some other event too, I hear.
And for Carnival, exactly. Yeah. So once there's an event and Savannah is giving permission for the event, you will have to move.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent situation. It's an accommodation of sorts. And they moved and good sense prevailed and they got to stay close to where they normally are. And people can freely move in and out of the Savannah through that Memorial Park entrance. Yeah.
Because they are heavily patronized, those vendors.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's also a thoroughfare.
Yeah.
It's not that they close down Savannah entrance, they accommodate them to sell their stuff if there's nothing happening in Savannah.
Yeah,
and I think they have to also understand that once something is happening in the Savannah, you will have to move. You will have to be relocated.
Yeah.
Because that is the entrance to the Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't be acting like if you own the space. You don't own the space. The space belongs to the Ministry of Culture, I guess, the state.
Yeah, I think it's
and if the state is agriculture, well, it belongs to the state.
Yeah.
So if the state has granted permission for some event in the Savannah and they need the entrance, you will have to move. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I don't think the state, quite frankly, is required to find an alternative accommodation for you. No. You would have gone there knowing that the condition is if there's an event in Savannah, you have to move.
Yeah, but both you and I know that when people get into a habit, how hard it is to break it, regardless.
And that's fine, and the habits can be broken. Mm-hmm. and the habits can and will be broken because, I mean, come on.
They all come at some sort of publicity price, either good or bad.
Yeah, and we'll get over it.
Yeah.
Bad press. You can't use bad press to blackmail people into allowing you to have your own when it's unreasonable, because that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's not like you rent this spot or you lease this spot here.
Yeah.
There are conditionalities to your being there.
I don't think they're paying for it.
And even if there would be conditionalities applied. It is the entrance to the Queen's Park Savannah.
Yeah.
So if you're paying for it, you would know that if there's an event in Savannah that needs the use of that entrance, you will have to move. You'll not be able to set up on that day.
Yep. Anyway, I have a couple birthdays. Because I went to a birthday party over the weekend too. The birthday party of my very good friend Ainsley Ramdra. He always has something for his birthday, and he had a nice party on Saturday evening. So happy birthday, Ainsley Ramdwa, my very good friend. Shobi Jaslaw is celebrating her birthday today too. Jason Turkana, I met Jason years ago. He does that vinyl sealing, installing those vinyl sealers. So happy birthday, Jason. And Mary Caraballo, she is celebrating her birthday today. And Red Rasta celebrated her birthday yesterday, she is AKA Red Rasta. Her name is Avalon Romani. Happy belated birthday, Avalon Romani. And yesterday, 2 days ago, would have been Clifford Learmont's birthday too. His birthday would have been on Saturday. So happy belated birthday greetings to all of you all celebrating birthdays. Tomorrow, of course, is August 1st. It's Emancipation Day tomorrow in Trinidad and Tobago. We are the first country to celebrate Emancipation Day. If I'm not mistaken,
and proudly so.
Huh?
And proudly so.
Yes, proudly so. So, I'm sure.
Health ministry started the wearing of masks at public and private hospitals and medical clinics will no longer be required as of tomorrow. So here's the last day that you have to wear masks in public hospitals, private health institutions, and clinics, etc. Of course, on May 5th, the WHO declared COVID no longer a global pandemic. It's an ongoing health concern, though. So closer and closer to normalcy we're going.
All right.
So
that's good news, I guess, for a lot of people.
Well, yeah. Until the next one reach. Pandemic I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
So we should have learned lessons from this one to manage the next one a little better.
Well, hopefully we won't be around for that one, because this one took 102 years.
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully we won't be around for that, because I can't imagine being around for 100 years.
Vampires like you might be around. You're a vampire, so.
Vampire like Richard.
Vampire like you, that just is another millennia for you. Really sad news out of Pakistan. I mean, suicide bombing. I haven't heard about a suicide bombing in the world, which was good. Well, suicide bombing has read its ugly head again in Pakistan. a suicide bomber targeted a political rally, killing 45 people. They expect the death toll to rise. One of the coalition partners in that country. I don't know. Yeah. So we wish them all the best. In Pakistan.
I missed that one.
Yeah. It's very, very unfortunate. Scenes of mayhem and chaos, of course, you would imagine. There was a political rally. The Jaimat Uliman Islam Fazi, which is a party that is part of the present government coalition. 15 people are also now in critical condition and undergoing health interventions. So we wish them all the best. If we come back home, the two big stories really circulating. One is Gary Griffith has sent a pre-action protocol letter to Bliss Seacosad.
Yes, I saw that trending over the weekend. Well, of course, anything that he does, I get it almost immediately. You know, so he sent me this video. He sent me a video, and when I press play, who could be on the video but Anil Roberts? I said, no, nope. I stopped it immediately, and I sent Gary a message. I said, do not send me any video with Anil, Inshan, or Philip Alexander. I will never watch anything they have to see. He said, oh God, all right, Rendell. Sorry. And then he explained what the video was about. So I don't know if Anil was the person championing the cause of that lawsuit, but I ain't listening to nothing Anil Roberts had to say. Sorry. You understand? So I immediately stopped it.
I can read the start of the pre-action protocol letter, which is dealing with the merit list fiasco, where he was very upset, but I'm using that word very lightly. He's still challenging the process, and it's to Miss Bliss said I would not read her address. Dear Madam, I instruct Mr. Runa Mangru and Mr. Larry Lala SC. We act on behalf of Mr. Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police of Trinidad and Tobago, August 2018 to August 2021. And this letter before action is sent to you in accordance with the pre-action protocol of the Civil Proceedings Rules 1988 as amended. It's to inform you of my client's intention to seek redress from the High Court in relation to your commission of the tort of malfeasance in public office while you held the office of Chairman of the Police Service Commission, and specifically in relation to your conduct and the part you played in the withdrawal of the August 2021 merit list for the appointment of a substantive Commissioner of Police on August 11, 2021, and your suspension of Mr. Griffith from the Office of Commissioner of Police September 17, 2021. And it goes down to list several circumstances. 1, public officer. 2, process of the appointment of a Commissioner of Police. 3, Mr. Gary Griffith as Commissioner of Police. 4, Mr. Griffith's application for a new term as Commissioner of Police. 5, the August 2021 merit list. 6, your breach of the Constitution. 7, the basis for your unconstitutional act. 8, your suspension of Mr. Griffith. 9, the harm to Mr. Griffith caused by your unconstitutional and or unlawful conduct. 10, the abuse of the office of Chairman of the Police Service Commission. 11, malfeasance in public office. 12, your response. She's been given 21 days of the date of issue to respond. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so
I get a sense of what it was. Because, as I say, he actually called me to explain what it was. I say, well, good luck for you. Good luck with you, because he is...
I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. But in the end, it will... People who are asked to serve in public offices like that will have 7 thoughts before now.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know the details of what happened. There's been so much information and misinformation and counter-information and supposition and assumption and fact mixed with fiction that I don't know ants from Batchak in this.
Yeah.
You understand? And in the end, I don't know if the practical thing or the easiest thing may have been, because I said, as I'm saying this, not knowing all the details.
Yeah.
That the merit list go to the parliament and the government choose who they want.
Yeah. Which is what,
and
which
they can
was the
go past
position.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and choose 10.
If you remember, that was the position we took back then too. Just let it be rejected at the parliament level. You understand? Just let it go through its course.
Yeah, which had been done before.
Correct.
No matter who was number 1, 2, or 3, the government had the simple majority in the lower house, which is where this process takes place.
Yeah.
They have in the past gone past 1 or 2 or something like that already on 3, not so? And rejected
he was number 4, not so?
Something like that.
3 other people before him, not so?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And choose who you want as the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to all the machinations that did or didn't take place that we will never be really clear on.
Mm-hmm.
With the Prime Minister, I think he eventually admitted he was the one who went to President's house. Am I wrong?
Yeah, he said he was the one who I think he was the one who said
and it went and was withdrawn and men, to me, I don't know, is it that Mr. Prasad would have sent a letter? It's so fuzzy in my mind now. I don't want them to disseminate this information. They went to the president's house and it was withdrawn or something like that.
I can't remember the actual way it happened. If she had actually arrived at president's house and then not given the list over, I don't remember the circumstances. But let that play itself out in the court because clearly got information is that he is taking it to court. He is taking Bliss Seepersad to court, right? Yeah. So I wish him luck. There was a story too over the weekend, Paul. I don't know if you read it, about a woman who apparently let me read this story, right? According to let me try to get the main part of the story. Where is it? Yeah, but they put up the story and then went into something else. The woman who killed the home intruder. That is the story you're looking for. I don't know if you saw that story where apparently a woman was home and she saw this guy who interfered with the car in the yard they're assuming an attempt to get her to come out. And she took her husband's, this is how I heard this story, right? She took her husband's licensed firearm and shot at the guy, hoping to scare him away. And when police eventually arrived, they found the guy dead on the scene with a bullet to his head. Now, I pull this story, and they talk about all other things except the actual thing. But that's what I heard on the news yesterday about the circumstances with that particular killing. I don't know. That reminds me of, there was one where this guy shot these guys through the door, remember? When he saw them on the camera attempting to come into his place. He shot through the door, and I think he killed one of them, if not more than one. I don't know what ever became of that matter. You understand? Because in these cases, you're acting
in self-defense.
Right. Well, you're not really acting in self-defense.
I don't know, because I could feel extremely threatened once someone is in the perimeter of my yard.
Right. So
you don't know how different people react in different ways.
So that is where I
they don't have to be right in front of me for me to feel threatened, you know.
Right. I know. That is why I would have liked if we
I don't have to wait for them to break down the door.
Yeah.
For me to feel threatened.
Right. I would have liked to get a legal opinion on those particular matters. That one then and this one now, because this was just over the weekend.
But it brings into question this controversial proposal for stand your ground law.
Yes, that's exactly what
you understand. That's
what,
basically what it brings in. It brings into that conversation for stand your ground law, and I fully understand. People feel sometimes, well, the people were in the gallery and the door was closed, and you weren't actually immediately threatened. You could feel very threatened because they are already in your yard and you're seeing them with guns.
Yes.
And to me, you don't have to wait for them to break down the door and fire. You're free to fire back at them, particularly if you have your family in the house.
But strange enough, Paul, you said something just now that has not formed the basis of either one of those stories. In that you're seeing them with guns. In that you're seeing them with guns. Because that didn't form part of any of those stories. Nobody said that they saw the people with guns. You understand?
And what about a knife?
You see them attempting to break into your home in one case, and in the other case, the person apparently triggered the alarm in the car, maybe to get somebody to come out. Sometimes they would put on a tap in your yard. You know, we have had incidents like that, so that you could hear a running tap in your yard and come outside and they accost you, right? But in both cases, the persons would have taken action in their opinion that prevented such. In other words, you pick up your gun and you shoot at the person. You understand? Which is what happened apparently yesterday. But in this case, based on the story that I read or heard yesterday, is that she picked up her husband's license fire and shot at the person. So I don't know.
So I'm on a site now called ncsl.org, which is a criminal and civil justice website, right? And it goes into some detail. At least 28 states and Puerto Rico will allow there's no duty of threat and attack in any place. So it's called self-defense or stand your ground. The common law principle of Castle Doctrine says the individual have the right to use reasonable force, including deadly force, to protect themselves against an intruder in their home. The principle has been codified and expanded by state legislatures. In 1980, a handful of states nicknamed Make My Day laws addressed immunity from prosecution in the use of deadly force against another who unlawfully and forcibly enters a person's residence. In 2005, Florida passed a law related to Castle Doctrine, expanding on that premise with stand your ground language related to self-defense and duty of retreat. Florida law states, quote, a person who is not engaged in an unlawful activity and who is attacked in any other place where he or she has a right to be and has no duty to retreat, has the right to stand his or her ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if he or she reasonably believes it is necessary to do so to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, to prevent the commission of forcible felony. Right? So this is not even your house. This is in the street too. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
Wherever you feel threatened in the streets, you know. Idaho law passed in 2018 expanded the definition of justifiable homicide to include not only defending one's home against an intruder, but also defending one's place of employment or an occupied vehicle. So there's self-defense laws in at least 23 states.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, we don't have it as law here, but we have had incidents where people have taken that kind of action, assuming that their life or their person is under threat. I know about an incident I remember with a road rage, where this driver, he thought he was under threat, and when the guy came up to him, he shot the guy. You understand? I think we have had more than one incident like that here with road rage. You understand? Where people approach someone in a car, you know, and we've seen several videos like that over the years in different parts of the world.
But now, I think we can ask this question this morning. Would you approve of self-defense laws in Trinidad to do like exempt you from prosecution?
Let's go stand your ground, because that's what's being proposed by some people.
That's what is being proposed. Yeah.
Yeah.
In your home, specifically related to in your home.
Right.
Right. We ain't talking general public. We're talking about in your home.
Yeah.
Right. Because as I said before, I could very well understand. I don't need to be directly in front of me with a gun in my face to feel threatened. You jump over my fence, understand?
Yeah.
In the present environment, in the present climate, and I see you in my camera or see you through my window trying to get into my house, I am not going to wait for you to get into the house.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you something. It so happens that in a lot of these cases, I have had personal experience. So with that,
me too.
We saw someone on our camera already attempting to get into our, well, it wasn't the home, but in the yard. As a matter of fact, when my wife looked at the time, she saw a hand pass by the camera. And she woke me up and she said, Wendell, I just saw like something pass by the camera. So we got up now and we looking and we are seeing these guys on our camera coming into the yard and attempting to go into, we had a storeroom in the back, right? And well, naturally, the first thing we do is call the police. You understand? But we are monitoring them whilst the police are on the way. Because she was on the phone with the police whilst I am looking at them, right? They never attempted to come into the house, but they did go into our storeroom and they picked up a tool, equipment, a whacker. And as they were leaving the yard, the police arrived. And the police shot at them. I tell you that. The police did shoot at them. I don't know if they shot at them.
While they were in your yard?
They were coming out the yard. They were coming out the yard at the time. And they dropped the whacker and they ran. Police never caught them. Now, I don't know if the police shot like a warning shot or if they shot at them. But a shot was...
But you heard shots.
We heard it. Right? As a matter of fact, the following morning, I picked up the spent shell in our porch. Right? But that is a personal incident I would have had. But our first reaction at the time was, of course, to call the police because, well, my wife would have had those kind of connections too at the time.
Well, as you may well know, I was kidnapped at gunpoint coming into my yard years ago. So,
no,
you don't get more real than that.
I don't know that.
Well, it was all over the papers at the time. It's like 17, 20 years ago.
You ever raised that on this show?
Possibly not, but I raised it in Parliament already.
I don't remember that at all, Paul.
Yeah. Get kidnapped, reversing out, car pull up behind. People came out. I thought they came to steal the car. They said, no, we come for you. There's a whole drama with the company I worked with at the time.
Oh.
And people are right down to Caroni Crematorium. 4:45 in the morning in the pure darkness, pull up in front of the crematorium. I say, well, this is it. And they let me go, give God thanks and praise.
You know, you're shocked. You're shocked.
They'll get more real. Yeah, they'll get more real than that. One jump in the tell me when the passenger seat, one in the back, gun to my head. So I have personal experience with serious crime. All right? And but the issue we're talking about this morning is actually somebody coming into your property and you feel threatened. So the question I'm proposing is, will you stand your ground floor to protect your home, family, and property, your family, home, and property?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because one of the other incidents that I would have experienced, of course, was a robbery. And this time when the guys and them blocked me in their car, I actually saw when the guy took his gun out from his waist and coming towards me. Now, if I had a gun at the time, trust me, I was shooting him first because I saw him pull his gun out of his waist and came towards me, right? And as I said, he pointed the gun at my head through the window, and before I could even react, he leg out shot at me at my head. And missed me, of course, and shot the person who was with me.
Now, yours was one worse than mine because somebody shot at you, so which is even more harrowing.
Yeah, the guy shot at me. I said, and at my head because he pointed it through the window at my head.
Wow.
And somewhere between the bullet coming through the glass and entering the vehicle, it deviated and went downwards towards the passenger seat and shot one of my workers in his leg.
Anyway, that's really sad to hear. Let's get into the newspapers this morning.
Yeah.
So we were reading the question this morning, and I had to look for where Steve had the question last week because I didn't find that yet. I did say it's going to be one of those mornings, right? All right, so let's look at the front pages of the three major dailies this morning. It is Monday, the 31st of July. Happy Emancipation, Trinidad and Tobago. We have to wish you that for now.
Yep.
It's a very significant day in this country, and we're the first country in the world to have Emancipation Day as a public holiday, looking at the sacrifices and the contribution of the persons of Afro-Trinidadian descent, in particularly in response to the transatlantic slave trade. Am I right?
Sorry?
In response to the victories and the sacrifices coming out of the transatlantic slave trade, and the contributions of Afro-Trinidadians in Trinidad and Tobago and generally the world, right?
Yes.
Right, so let's start with The Guardian. Distressed South residents cry for help after Saturday's flooding. I saw that gas station at, I can't remember what this is, crossing, literally underwater, heading in south on that bypass road. I was in shock. And some other video of basically cars submerged up to their roofs.
I saw a picture of Napa River also.
Yeah, that was a lot of water. All right, yeah. Nikon struggling with US $250 million debt. We heard a lot of talk over about the energy sector this weekend, also with plants being shut down because of a lack of gas, and it is really worrying the state of our energy sector. Homeowners shoot skills bandit during home invasion, which is what you referenced earlier. Floods, landslides after severe thunderstorm in South Trinidad. Residents blame government for flooding. Double murder in Carnage. Lord relator honored at Emancipation concert. Jack, the star of UNC walkabouts. David Lee, serious economic fallout from natural gas shortage. And distressed South residents cry out for help after Saturday's flooding. Let's move now to the Newsday Online. Kamla reiterates call for national unity. 9-year-old believed drowned in Toko. Double murder in Carnage. Venezuelan work permit exemption extended to December 31st. UNC energy sector employment down under PNM. Alexander, PP never begged to be part of UNC alliance. Al-Rawi cleanup teams out and about. Hundreds affected by Sando flooding. Toko shopkeeper facing robbery charges. THA abandons Tobago house in Trinidad months after paying rent. CXC students can apply for early results mathematics grading explained. And extension to time to pay face mask fines. We move now to the Express Online for today. PNM owes TTT 0.5 million, $572,783.75 for political broadcasts carried during the periods October 2020 to November 2022. Monster showers wreak havoc over the weekend. Masks no longer a must. All hail the king. Yes, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II of Ghana. Did I pronounce that right, man?
Yes, Otumfuo Osei Tutu. Yes.
Has arrived in the country. He arrived shortly before 4 p.m. yesterday and was greeted by the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the southern terminal of the Piaco International Airport, which is used to welcome dignitaries. Woman kills home intruder. No more masks from August. Police going beyond the call, says Senior Cop. Cell phone jammers not enough to block calls from prisoners. Do you realize drones are dropping stuff in the maximum security prison, you know?
I saw that
and
video.
The fire officials are having great drama to deal with that, right? And Gary goes after Bliss. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Monday, the 31st of July, 2023.
All right.
Right? So, now, let me see if I can find this thing before we go. I don't think I never know drama here today. I don't know if I once that drama just already. I'm looking for the The votes. I'm looking for the votes.
From last week, from Friday.
Yeah.
From our question over the weekend.
I don't know if Stevens have the votes. Anyway. I don't forget that. Anyway, so our question this morning comes from that story where a woman has shot a man fatally after he entered her home. So our question this morning is, will you support? He didn't enter the home.
No, I don't think he got inside. I think what he was doing was in the yard. You see, because the story had just had a headline.
He entered a premises. He entered a premises.
Yes,
right?
Yes, yeah.
Right. Premises, home yard. He entered her premises. Will you support stand your ground law to protect your family, home, and property in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes.
Well, what somebody sent for me, Paul, is that this is already law in Trinidad and Tobago. It says if a man is attacked, the law is that he is entitled to defend himself by using such force as is reasonable. That is to say, force that is reasonably necessary in the circumstances of the attack in defense of himself. That's very broad in terms of interpretation.
Right. So I guess stand your ground widens it past your home then.
Yeah.
So let's just say stand your ground low and take all the rest, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say stand your ground low in Trinidad and Tobago. And simplify it.
Stand your ground,
right?
Stand your ground, and of course the opposite to defending yourself is assuming someone is also coming to attack you and you acting and only to realize
that is not opposite to, and there's going to be assumption made at some stage anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the other side of it, where the concern is that people may use it to go beyond what it's intended to.
Profile and kill people.
Right. So simply the question this morning is, will you support stand your ground law in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah. Yes or no?
It's as simple as that, right? You can start calling now. Hopefully I'll figure out this message board before the day done. Don't worry, I'll call Shane after the news. Right?
So
numbers are, you can start dialing 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255.
We could just take votes via the phone for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't send any messages, people. You have to call.
No, you can send the messages. We'll find it. Send the messages.
Oh, okay.
I got the poll from last week. Is do you think the Council for Ethical Political Behavior is biased? And the votes are in. It's very slim. 51% said yes, and 49% said no. 51% said yes.
The actual poll on the day was 22 said yes and 2 said no.
Why is it strange?
Because
why is it strange? Explain to me why you think it's strange.
I am highly suspicious of those online.
Explain to me why you think it's strange. Because it didn't come out how you feel it's supposed to come out?
No, I'm always concerned about how those polls change on those online.
But then why are we doing the poll if you don't think it's straight? If you think it's strange, because the results didn't come out how you wanted to come out.
All right. So I'm saying the polling on the day that we do is we know for sure people are actually sending those messages and people are actually calling. We know that for sure.
Good morning. Right. So you don't start about the poll now. You're putting doubt in my mind about the poll.
No, I have always had reservations about the online.
So if it come out 100% said no, yes, you will have no issue with it.
No, it does not matter. I have always had
reservations. The polls change. You will see election results start one way, and by the end of the night, the rest and at the end of the night, and the next way. You don't doubt it then. Am I wrong?
I said, and I will repeat. I've always had reservations about the online results. Always. That ain't changing. You telling me anything ain't
Will you
changed
support stand your ground law in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free North Americans. 866-525-1099. Will you support stand your ground law in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes or no? That's our poll. We can call in now, 222-TALK. You know, to take the calls, right?
I think I did it already in the past, so. Good morning.
Good morning, Pinal. Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Pinal.
Today, boy.
You doubting that answer, or you're good with that?
No, I said once I hear the person and the message comes whilst we are on here, I have no problem with that. I accept those reasons. But that online thing, someone said you can sit down and literally vote many times. When we take a call or take a message, it's only once you can vote.
So you're trying to say the online thing can be voter padding, right?
Yes. Putting it mildly.
Will you support stand your ground law in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? The lines are open. I ain't able to know this morning because the day before a holiday, the Emancipation. I ain't taking you on this morning at all.
That's all right.
Not this morning, really. Good morning.
Harmless.
Good morning, President. Good morning to all of you. The answer is yes, I support it.
All right.
Thank you very much. Right. So you see, I can get the phone and the call. I got into the calls on, you know.
You're getting it.
I will figure out the other part just now. You see, I changed the screen just now and it shut down everything online. So I didn't want to take that risk again until I get some instruction. I don't know why TPS is stable.
Another bacchanal brewing with prison officers and loans. The fraud squad is now investigating allegations of a money lending scheme for profit operated by.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. I say yes to the poll.
All right.
Yes, thank you, sir.
It's a long time I hear that caller.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you're getting that's voter pardon too because you ain't him a long time.
No. As I said, I accept live calls and I accept live messages. I ain't accepting that online thing or that all it is be doing. Sorry. Afraid it is switch wrong a poll. It is switch wrong a obvious a poll results, a genuine poll results.
What is obvious? What's the obvious poll? What's the obvious poll? Tell me.
No, I used the wrong word. It is switch wrong. You
use the word in your mind. You mean it obvious to you. It's obvious because whatever result you feel it should be.
No.
You feel it should be a particular result, so you find.
I have no vested interest in
it to be that way. So anything other than that.
You know this. I hardly ever come up with a poll, so I have no vested interest in any poll. Most of the polls are done by you.
Because my poll is better than your poll. My poll always better than your poll.
Well,
you understand?
Well, we use your poll more than mine.
One thing's in that. I can't help it if my poll. I can't help it if my poll usually better than yours.
Well, people argue about your polls, but I tell them I have no problem with it.
And if they want to send poll, send poll.
Well, true. We
open to people suggesting polls from the audience. Anyway, our poll this morning, and I usually ask you all if you're comfortable with the poll, not so?
Yes. That's why I say I have no.
Exactly. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Sandy Gandhi. Wendell, write for me. My answer is yes.
I write it for you, Mr. Holmes.
Right.
Mr. Holmes, bacchanal going on with the prisons, boy.
222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free if you are in North America. You know, we have plenty of friends in North America and Europe and Saudi Arabia and Australia. Now is the time to call. Will you support stand your ground law in Trinidad and Tobago? Now, this is related to, I guess, anywhere.
Yeah. Anyway.
Does Steve have this TV on a station? Yeah, I can't watch this morning show at all. Jeez.
Put it on YouTube. You can't put it on YouTube.
No, so I ain't the friend of I'm doing it. Next thing, everything fall apart. Yeah. Related to, I guess the intention of this stand your ground now that is being suggested by the opposition is, and I can correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, in relation to any way to protect yourself anyway, not only in your home. Would that be the impression you're getting also?
Yes.
Yeah. So anywhere you are in the country, and you're right, there are inherent dangers to that, because people can make presumptions about somebody just who don't look like you.
Yeah. Well, we saw that play out live. We spoke to the pundit, not so? In the Arangwa situation. You remember the position he took?
Oh yes.
That's
Good morning.
Very deep.
Good morning, Paul. My answer is yes.
Good morning.
Morning,
Yes.
Paul. My
Thank you,
answer
sir.
is yes.
We got you.
Thank you.
Dinsley. Again, to know all these
Yeah.
others' voice.
Yeah, and that's a serious concern, because I mean, it can have people with itchy trigger finger just going on, feeling everybody coming at them. But you still have to have an FUL, wouldn't you? A licensed FUL, but a firearm user's license. You'd have to have a licensed gun.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you can't just get a gun and illegally shoot people with illegal weapons. So
yeah,
that could be another bacchanal with this, because then we'll come now, who gets an FUL to protect themselves, who qualifies for FUL, you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that will be a whole other bacchanal now with who getting and who ain't getting, as who qualifies to protect themselves, who qualifies to feel unsafe. Everybody feels unsafe.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who feels safe walking around the streets of Trinidad and Tobago, driving around the place. I just don't know anybody who at this stage feels safe, feels as if their lives are under threat. So,
and you know that's a good poll too, eh? That's a good poll we could use another day.
Do you feel safe?
Yeah. Do you feel threatened when you walk about, when you go about your business in Trinidad and Tobago? It's a good poll.
Yeah. You see? Ever so often a good poll?
Yep. And it always happens right around a holiday. So at least how much holidays we have for the year?
You have to wait till holiday. Good morning. I don't know where anything is in here. Good morning, April Cynthia Bob.
Good morning.
Is Gregory there?
No. You want me to exchange with you?
That would be wonderful. All right. So stand by, you all. News is coming up next. So you know everything, right?
I want to believe so. I was unaware of this arrangements.
News is coming up next with Avril St. Hill Bob.
Wait, don't press that yet.
I'm going to play a commercial to transition you out of this. All right, stand by, people.
Feel free to take that off.
Are you interested in working for an elite private security organization? Are you working in the security industry but are looking for career development? Then, SWAT Estate Police Company Limited would like to consider you to join our team as a firearm officer, person, or team. However, to be a candidate following advice, you must be at least 25 years of age. You must have a clean criminal record. You must be in prime physical health. You must be the holder of a precept and a firearm user's employee certificate. Interested and want to learn more? Please contact 646 SWAT. That's 646-7928, extension 1203 or 1200. Or email your resume to recruitment@gradscity.com with the subject SWAT firearm application. Please note, only candidates will be considered. A message from SWAT.
Christmas in July at Furniture Plus equals big mattress savings. Get a Queen Therapeutic mattress for just $799. Certain mattresses starting from just $999. Plus, save up to $2,600 on the luxurious Sealy Hybrid. Check press and social media for details.
Are you interested in working for an elite private security organization? Are you working in the security industry but are looking for career development and growth? Then, SWAT Estate Police Company Limited would like to consider you to join our team as a firearm officer for some of our premium clients. However, to be a suitable candidate, the following applies. You must be at least 25 years of age. You must have a clean criminal record. You must be in prime physical health, and you must be the holder of a precept and a firearm user's employee certificate. Interested and want to learn more? Please contact 646 SWAT. That's 646-7928, extension 1203 or 1200. Or email your resume to recruitment@gradstt.com with the subject SWAT firearm application. Please note, only fully vaccinated candidates will be considered. A message from SWAT.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Relief crews continue cleanup following flooding in South Trinidad. The Ministry of Health says the wearing of masks at all public and private hospitals and medical clinics will no longer be mandatory as of tomorrow. December 31st is the extension of work permit exemptions granted to Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, and doomsday scenes unfold in Pakistan after a suicide bomber targets a political rally. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sindhil-Bab. Good morning. Relief teams are on the field doing assessments and cleanup work in South Trinidad following heavy rainfall on Saturday. Minister of Local Government Faris Al-Rawi spoke with members of the media on Sunday, indicating the groundwork is taking place to bring much needed help to individuals impacted by the flooding. Mr. Al-Rawi said the Ministry of Community Development is also providing much needed assistance to persons affected.
Intense rainfall, heavy period, and it coincided with high tide. We didn't have low tide until 8:02 p.m. last night. Right now we're in the cleanup phase, and the Ministry of Social Development is on the ground as well. So the relief that is happening, some people have lost on their ground floors all and significant stuff, so we're literally going door to door and house to house right now.
Meanwhile, San Fernando Mayor Junior Agrello cited the importance of people taking personal responsibility for their communities, ensuring cleanliness and care of the environment.
A garbage can almost at the mouth of the river, blocking this tunnel and flow of water going inside it. That caused a whole flooding on Riverside, and 5 or 6 houses were flooded because of this. This is unacceptable. My investigation on this is that this was lying there for over a week, and the same residents were flooded out saw it, but it's not your responsibility to move it or even inform the corporation that this exists. So I'm making a special meeting public. We have a responsibility as stakeholders to work with the corporation.
The Ministry of Health says the wearing of masks at all public and private hospitals and medical clinics will no longer be mandatory as of tomorrow. This is the case since the COVID public health regulations ends at midnight on July 31st, 2023. The World Health Organization announced the end of the global pandemic on May 5th, 2023, declaring it an established and ongoing health issue, which no longer constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. The duration of the work permit exemption granted to Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago registered under the Migrant Registration Framework has been extended to December 31st, 2023. The Ministry of National Security says registered Venezuelan nationals who were issued with the minister's permits and migrant registration cards are invited to visit the relevant Immigration Division Enforcement Unit office up to the extended deadline date of Friday, 11th August 2023. To process their extended permits and update their registration cards. Registrants are urged to inform the Immigration Division of any changes in their address and contact details when they visit the relevant immigration office. Without accurate and updated contact information, the Immigration Division says it will be unable to advise the registrant on the status of their application. The opposition claims the energy sector is in trouble following the shutdown of major downstream plants due to a lack of natural gas supply. Member of Parliament for Point-a-Pear David Lee claims the current situation has placed the country at a loss of millions of dollars in much-needed foreign exchange. Speaking at the UNC's news briefing on Sunday, MP Lee said there is also need for the Energy Chamber to give its views on the latest development, being a key stakeholder in the vital arena.
The Young hastily issued a two-paragraph release on Friday after we in the opposition exposed that major downstream plants such as Proman's M2, M3 plants were shut down, as well as Stringent 1 and Nutrient O3 plants due to a lack of natural gas supply. Not a word has been heard from the Energy Chamber. Not a word. And that tells me a narrative about the Energy Chamber and this present government.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Doomsday scenes unfolded in Pakistan after a suicide bomber targeted a political rally, killing at least 45 people, an eyewitness has told the BBC. People screamed for help as rescuers rushed to the scene in the northwest Bahur district on Sunday. Rally organizer Imran Mahir said the attack targeted the Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam Fazal, a party that is part of the government coalition. A person standing next to me died. Another was injured, Mr. Mahir said. Hundreds had turned up for the rally, which was an opportunity for the Islamist JRF to rally its support ahead of an election expected to take place later this year. Mr. Mahir, who was seated on the stage when the bomb was detonated, described how the explosion unleashed flames and pellets on the crowd that gathered in the town of Kar in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province near Pakistan's border with Afghanistan. Well, finally, here's your weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, long sunny periods interrupted at times by some light to moderate showers in confined areas. There's a low to medium chance some of these showers could become heavy and or thundery, favoring hilly and western areas. Nightfall, mostly fair except for some brief isolated light showers in confined areas. Gusty winds, street and or flash flooding can be expected near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 25 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. Relief crews continue cleanup following flooding in South Trinidad. The Ministry of Health says the wearing of masks at all public and private hospitals and medical clinics will no longer be mandatory as of tomorrow. December 31st is the extension of work permit exemptions granted to Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, and doomsday scenes unfold in Pakistan after a suicide bomber targets a political rally. I'm Avril Cynthia Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news coming up at 12 noon today and an update coming your way at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Are you interested in working for an elite private security organization? Are you working in the security industry but are looking for career development and growth? Then, SWAT Estate Police Company Limited would like to consider you to join our team as a firearm officer for some of our premium clients. However, to be a suitable candidate, the following applies. You must be at least 25 years of age. You must have a clean criminal record. You must be in prime physical health, and you must be the holder of a precept and a firearm user's employee certificate. Interested and want to learn more? Please contact 646-SWAT. That's 646-7928, extension 1203 or 1200. Or email your resume to recruitment@gradstt.com with the subject SWAT firearm application. Please note, only fully vaccinated candidates will be considered. A message from SWAT.
So, welcome
back. We are on.
I do believe.
I hope so. Well, I hope so. Let me put it that way.
Monday morning.
It's Monday morning. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let me see if I can get this camera sorted.
There you go.
There you go.
Something like that.
Something like that.
You're echoing and feeding back.
I'm
getting an echo from you.
Right. We're back.
I tell you.
It's Monday morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Again, we
haven't seen him at
yet. We have this
production last night.
Paul, I'm hearing you twice.
Would that be correct, Mr. Stevens?
I'm hearing you twice.
You're not hearing me twice again now. Am I good now?
Right. Good. You're better there. Yes.
Right.
What did you say about Richard? Yes, Richard had a play over the weekend.
So
we may not see him. Were we supposed to be speaking with Dr. Vishnu Ragnath today?
Yes, I'm going to try to get him on now.
All right. Let me try to get that window behind me shut, Paul. Hold on. It's making it impossible to see me. Hold on.
It's one of those mornings. You always struggle with the studio. So I'm not even pretending. Yeah, we're going to be talking to Dr. Vishnu Ragnath, who is the chairman of the Council for Ethical Political Behavior.
Yep. It'll be interesting for him to respond to the different information that's coming out concerning and how they do business, in terms of how they monitor the political parties. If it is that they only go based on a report, or if it is that they're actually monitoring what is being said, and why haven't they responded to some of the other things on some of the other platforms?
Which is the concern for me, and I understand they may have a particular process, but I wonder how, if you're calling yourself a watchdog in particular, which is, a watchdog is a watchdog. A watchdog can only wait for complaints, in my humble opinion, right? Because if you're calling yourself a watchdog, you need to be monitoring the space.
Yeah.
You need to be active. You and your members, and we called the members of the committee last week, need to be actively monitoring the political space. And it's not to me a difficult space to monitor. In addition to waiting for complaints to come in, you need to be actively monitoring all political broadcasts and meetings, or at least some, if not all, a large percentage, because not everyone will report what may be described as unethical behavior. And I'd also like to ask him, what constitutes? Yes, Dr. Vishnu Ragnath. Yes, Avril. What constitutes unethical political behavior? We may think it's a no-brainer. What constitutes? What do they think constitutes unethical political behavior? I'm sure they have a framework within which they're operating. They're not going to just say, well, I feel you say this and that is unethical, and I feel you say that and that is unethical. They must have I think the parties would have signed on to a code of conduct.
I suspect so. I don't know.
And I was looking for it over the weekend, but I didn't find it.
Was it something that came up when the NAR was in power? I think A&R Robinson instituted that. Isn't that when this thing came up? A code of behavior for elections, for politicians.
Well, the conversation started then. The conversation started then. Right. So I found something now. Right. And this is under the banner of the TNT Chamber of Industry and Commerce. So I don't know if theirs is similar to that. Right? So this is a code of ethical political conduct. I don't know if this is but from what I'm seeing, this seems to be any party in power.
Party in power.
Well, I'm seeing stuff like have affirmed their respect for the principles of social justice, have asserted their belief in a democratic society, have asserted that forgiveness and reconciliation are integral to nation building. What else? Have affirmed that the nation of Trinidad and Tobago is founded upon the principles and acknowledgement of the supremacy of God, faith in fundamental human rights, centrality of the family in a society, of free men and women and free institutions, etc. So stuff like that. code of ethical political conduct now specifically, fostering democracy, promotion of respect of human rights, encouraging participation in the electoral process, promoting an election process free from violence. Section 1, commitment, the parties, coalitions, and their candidates agree to uphold the Constitution, maintain the highest moral principles and ethical standards, cooperate with the police, promote and enforce respect and tolerance, harmony, and peace, nominate representatives who will be responsible for all matters related to the code and who will liaise with the Council for Responsible Political Behavior, refrain from practices that promote divisiveness, disassociate themselves from criminal elements and criminal activity, confine their criticism of other political parties to the policies and programs, past record and work, ensure that meeting
based on what you now read it, they had to disband the UNC. You had to forget about that party can't exist then under them conditions you now read it. Huh?
Let's welcome Dr. Ragnath to the broadcast.
Is he on?
Good morning, Dr. Ragnath.
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Dr. Ragnath. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate in your home clothes.
He's trying to wear a neutral jersey. He's trying to wear a neutral t-shirt. You see that?
I don't know that orange is neutral these days, but we'll take that.
Good morning.
Dr. Ragnath, thank you for joining us this morning. Just as we start, just give us a sense, a bit of background as to the Council for Ethical Political Behavior, where it started and what elicited the formation of it.
Yeah.
And what their mandate is.
Yeah. Okay. So the Council is a spin-off from the Code of Ethical Political Ethical Behavior. Okay. The Code of the code was developed in 2014 by civil society. There was no council at that point in time. Let me just make sure. The code was developed, and within the code, there is provision for a council to monitor adherence to the code. But so when the code was developed by civil society, which is the IRO, the Chamber, the Publishers and Broadcasters Association, the Catholic Church, all of those various organizations, Phyton and all of them, the Women's Organization, they all came together, developed a code. There was no council. The code was then taken to the political parties. The political parties endorsed the code and said, fine, we are in agreement with this, let us move forward with it. It was only after the political parties endorsed the code that the same civil society organizations which came together and drafted the code then went out there headhunting and pulled together a council. So that is where the council came in. So the council, whereas the code was done in 2014 and endorsed in 2014, it was only until sometime in 2015 that the council came into being.
Dr. Ragnath, stick a pin right there. How was that endorsement actioned?
When you say how was it actioned,
how was it done? Was it by way of a document signed by the general secretary of the parties, or what? How was that done?
A document was signed by political leaders, general secretaries, and so forth. I could even show you, in fact, just on Friday or Thursday, I did a recording with the Catholic Broadcasting Station, whatever they are. And in fact, in that broadcast, there are actual pictures of Keith Rowley and Franklin Kahn signing that code. Mind you, at that point in time, they were members of the opposition.
Right.
But political leaders, as well as general secretaries of the various political parties, were invited in 2014, and they signed on to a code. So we have a code with the signatures of all of those people from 2014.
How many, if you can remember, how many political parties signed on and who would have signed on behalf of those parties? How many parties signed on at the time?
Okay, in 2014, the 5 major political parties which existed at that point in time all signed on. PNM, UNC, MSJ, COP, ILP. Between 2015 and 2021, several other parties came on and signed on to the code. So there have been several parties coming voluntarily and saying, we want to sign on to this code. Now, many of these parties are very small entities, not contesting the election or anything like that. But they decided they wanted to sign on, and we invited them to all to sign.
Has NTA and PEP signed on? PEP?
No.
NTA and PEP, they have not signed?
They are not signatories.
Okay.
To the code. Okay.
Now, I looked at the Chamber of Commerce website just now, and I saw a basic framework and mandate. Is it in alignment with that? Or are you working together with the Chamber of Commerce? Because I just saw it under the Chamber of Commerce website. Is that the same? Would you know if that's the same thing?
That is the same thing. The Chamber of Commerce was part and parcel of the formation of that code. And in fact, they are the ones who support the founding organizations, as we call them now. They are part of the founding organizations, and they continue to keep the issues alive in their on their website.
Now, you mentioned earlier on that the part of the mandate is to monitor political activity so that those who are signatories conform to what they signed on to. How do you do that?
Well, to be honest with you, what we do, we look at mainstream media. And I want to emphasize this. Mainstream media issues which come out in the print press, as well as we look at some of the coming out of the electronic media. We have not been able to monitor Facebook and the social media, where we are aware that there may be some of the more nasty, whatever, however you want to describe them, more colorful posts relating to campaigns and so on. But we have not been able to monitor. Bear this in mind. We are nine people. Well, in fact, now we are down to 8. One of them has passed only recently. We're down to 8 of us. We are only monitoring what is in the print media and what is in the electronic mainstream media. That is what we follow, and and then we invite members of the public to submit complaints should they be able to see or to witness and can provide evidence of breaches of the code. So we do not claim at all to have the resources to monitor every bit of media that comes across there.
No, you're monitoring press, Guardian, Express, Newsday. You're monitoring television stations and the radio stations that you can monitor, which is, we have 36 radio stations in Trinidad and Tobago, and we have about 5 or 6 fully talk stations and very politically charged. In the modern era, because part of your mandate is monitoring, am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Even with your limited resources, all political parties may not broadcast on mainstream media, but they stream their broadcasts. And their political meetings are highly publicized. So how can you effectively monitor if you're not monitoring digital platforms where all these political parties are streaming and they advertise we are having a political meeting, particularly in the lead up to this local government election, which is high stakes, and to fulfill your mandate effectively? Because I'm having a bit of a conflict in my mind where the council is existing in 2023 as opposed to 2014, when digital media wasn't as prominent, where most of the consumption is taking place on digital media, and you are not monitoring digital media where these major political parties are streaming their broadcasts, and you're waiting for the papers to report or electronic media taking their reports to and leaving out a large part of these meetings where the newspaper may not carry what may be unethical or offensive commentary on either side.
And that I admit is our major shortcoming, in that we cannot monitor all of these things. So, for instance, you just said 30 plus radio stations. We cannot monitor all of them. We cannot monitor all.
But you can monitor. But you can monitor PNM website, UNC website, NTA website, PP website, which are streaming their broadcasts, their meetings. You don't have to monitor all the radio stations, but the radio stations are carrying the meetings. There are about 5 main political elements contesting this election. So I find it a bit conflicting for me that you cannot monitor these 5 entities when that is your mandate.
The monitoring all okay, so I take the complaint that yes, we have not been monitoring effectively, and I take that as a given. And again, this is the challenge. We are not resourced by anybody. This is a voluntary activity on behalf of members of the council. There's absolutely no funding coming from anybody to say we could pay anybody to assist us in monitoring. So again, it depends now on 8 people having to sit down there and probably sit at there trying to monitor every meeting, every political meeting, which becomes literally impossible for us to do.
But isn't that what you signed up for, though? Because and correct me if I'm wrong, but can you understand any political entity hearing an official communicate about their activity from the council and hearing and knowing that other political entities are making potentially equally offensive statements, but you respond to a particular complaint validly so because that's part of your mechanism, and you don't have the resources to effectively monitor even on a little wider scale. So it may come across as unbalanced.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. And
yeah.
What I'm saying, and this is why we depend, and we have repeatedly invited members of the public, political parties, anybody who has any inclination that what is being said outside there or what is being done outside there is not in conformity with good political ethical behavior. Just let us know. It was only at that point in time. Let me give you a simple example. Last night on one of the television news programs, for instance, I saw where there was actually something where I believe it was the PEP went to one of the PNM candidates' offices and was knocking on the door, whatever else. And I really didn't see the entire story. I just glimpsed it. I will now try and follow up on it. And therein, within the byline and the storyline given in the newscast, was that the PNM now expects the council to go investigate what Philip Alexander was knocking on the door for. Now, again, all of this is part and parcel of a campaign. Am I supposed to be following around Philip Alexander throughout the country? No. But now I am dependent upon people now to say, this has happened. And that has happened. And if you could tell me that has happened, well, fine. Let us take it from there. If, however, we make no bones about it, we are not resourced to follow everything on the media, and yes, you could criticize.
Let me tell you why I have a difficulty with this. And I understand what you're saying, Dr. Ragnath. You are a political scientist. Your investigations follow a particular scientific format. You are very well aware in the scientific realm, and you are a political scientist chairing a council for ethical political behavior. And you're admitting that your data collection and sources are not funded or resourced adequately to get a whole picture of the political environment. Would I be incorrect in saying that?
Yes, you are correct in saying that.
But you are putting commentary and statements out that can have an effect on the entire political environment with a flawed data collection mechanism.
Agreed.
Hence the accusation of being biased.
No, I don't know what I'm biased. Bias suggests intent. I am just looking at, and you can make your point after, Wendell. I am just looking at, well, right, okay, but I'm prosecuting a different angle. You can prosecute that at the end if you want after. My concern is that you are somebody looked upon with credibility because you're a political scientist, you're a scientist. So data collection and sourcing of information to present a comprehensive overview of the scenario, because you are monitoring and evaluating a political environment. So your mechanism for data collection has to be as sound as your assessment or your pronouncements on the environment. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. And
if you are citing a major flaw through no fault of your own, a major flaw in your monitoring of the environment, that has to be of great concern. We can't just dismiss that as nothing. That is a major and significant issue because you want to present to the public a view of the political environment that takes into consideration everyone's commentary and whether or not the environment as a whole is adhering to the political codes established and signed on to.
And I take that criticism, but clearly bear in mind several things. One, while yes, we are operating without full data, without proper data, we only could operate as at this point in time with what we have. Yes, we could be accused of simply saying that we are not monitoring the entire political scenario, and I take that as a given. But again, guess what? Is there any other institution telling us what we're doing right or what we're doing wrong? Is there anything like that? No.
Dr. Ragnath, let me ask some direct questions. You said that the NTA and the PEP have not signed on to this. Is it that you are not required to monitor them or report on them?
What we did once the election date was announced, in fact, no, after the election date, once nomination day came and went, we got a listing of all from the EVC of all the parties which nominated candidates to contest the election.
Okay.
We then sent a copy, an electronic copy of the code to all of those parties, informing them that this code is in existence and we are asking them to transmit the code to all their candidates so their candidates will be aware of the code. And we then simply say, well, we are monitoring whether you are signatory or not. Mm-hmm. We also told them that you are also invited, should you so desire, to submit complaints to the council, which we will consider. The NTA was the first party for this election campaign that sent us a complaint. Mm-hmm. They are not a signatory. Right. We dealt with their complaint. And
was that the complaint about the PNM meeting in San Fernando?
No, that was the complaint about the PNM meeting in St. James.
Okay, right. So your public utterance was based, I think, on the PNM meeting in San Fernando. Was that by way of a complaint or you monitoring it?
And that was a second set of complaints that came in from the UNC.
Right.
Okay. So in fact, the two releases that we have issued to date, where we have cited parties as having breached the code, came about, and we make sure that when we issue the release states specifically, this is a complaint that came in from so and so. This is their understanding of what the breach is. Right. We then dissect what has been actually said, and then we now say, okay, fine, based on what the complaint was, whether the complaint had merit or did not have merit in all its aspects. So in the case of San Fernando, for instance, that was a UNC complaint. The complaint came in and said that they were making false and defamatory statements against the UNC and on false and unsubstantiated statements, right? We could not determine whether it was false or not. What we could determine was it was unsubstantiated. Okay? So it is in that context we said it, while we could not say false, we said it was unsubstantiated. And that's where we are. So the two releases where we cited parties as having breached the code were based on complaints which we list out in the release. This is the complaint that we received. This is what we discovered after we reviewed whether it was the recording or what. And in both instances, in the case where in the St. James meeting where the NTA sent us their complaint, they sent us with their complaint, here's the recording if you didn't have it before.
Right.
In the case of the San Fernando meeting, here's the recording in the case if you didn't have it before. The other complaint that came into us thus far that we have dealt with was the one of the flyers of the PNM candidates in Miaru. And those flyers came in with the complaint. This is what is being distributed outside there.
So the only complaints you have had thus far are 3 complaints against the PNM. You haven't had complaints against anyone else.
This week, we are going to be dealing with complaints against the UNC that we've had, as well as another complaint against the PNM that we have received. So that is going to be dealt with at a meeting later this week of the council.
Dr. Ragnath, have you monitored any meetings at all?
I have been able to listen to some of the meetings which are aired on mainstream television.
Have you found any disturbing comments coming out of any of those meetings?
Again, some of those, no. Again, yes, we have found some offensive statements coming out of those meetings, and we are going to be reporting on that. We're going to be dealing with some of those this week.
All right.
What are the main breaches of the code that you've identified generally so far?
The main breaches of the code. Okay, so basically, when the code was set up, and we were invited to serve on the council, we were told, look at several things. Try and let people focus on issues, not on personalities. Let us not degrade people. Let us not try to undermine people's characters and those sorts of things. That literally is where we wanted the campaigning to go. Focusing on issues, focusing on policies, not on personalities, those sorts of things.
What happens when there are questionable personalities in any particular political entity who the entity having the meeting, or it has been identified in the public domain that these people have issues to answer the public for? How should political parties deal with that? Because that means a political issue, a personality issue is conflated now with an ethical or conduct issue.
We are not judges of people's personal character. The issue here, as we said, is simply that the campaign must not focus on personality, but rather focus on issues. We cannot judge whether somebody's character is not acceptable or not, or breaches some level of ethics. That's not our role at all. If a political party brings on somebody to speak and that person is of questionable character, that's their responsibility. That's the party's responsibility. That cannot be my responsibility. I cannot go and say that this man was a criminal or this man is a rapist, or I cannot say those things. I don't know. I am not a judge. I am, and even if somebody went to jail for something, they have paid their dues as far as I'm concerned. I am not getting back into that personality. I am not getting into the personality. I want to say I am not saying I personally, I'm saying the council. The council is not getting into the issues of personalities and their own characters. What we are saying, however, is simply you shouldn't go on a platform, however, and try to bring down the character of somebody else. So, for instance, and let me go back to the one of the complaints that we had received and we dealt with. So, for instance, in the San Fernando meeting that we cited, in the San Fernando meeting, it was said that a group of people was brought into Port of Spain to destabilize the city and paid to shoot up people indiscriminately. And this lady was shot, and the implication there was simply that this group of people was paid to do this by a political party. That was unsubstantiated. But the allegation and in the campaign, in the speech, you go on to make all sorts of other things. Now, one of the things, for instance, I mean, and I have no say in it here. We've heard the drunken political leader falling down all over the place, this, that, and those sorts of things. No, you are now going at persons' characters. Why don't you focus on the issues? We could talk about issues. In fact, this week, I could tell you definitely, the council has not yet met on it. The council will be meeting on it this week. But there was one particular issue that has come to our attention. And in fact, I saw it myself. Like I said, I looked at some of the mainstream broadcasts. I looked at it myself and I immediately tagged it as one of those issues we have to deal with, where a particular speaker on a platform went on to attack people from another party personally. I immediately tagged it. I got it later on as a complaint also. Guess what? The language that the speaker on one platform used was unacceptable. And I will say that. It was unacceptable. In response to that allegation, to those statements that were made, the other political party came out and in a very diplomatic, civil way, responded to the concerns which were raised. Now, clearly, if one party could do it, that is respond in a diplomatic, civil way, without attacking anybody's character, why can't everybody else do it? I'll tell you why we can't, why it can't be done. Well, no, I can't say why it can't be done. Why it is not done. It is not done because in 2015, when this council was first set up, and I appeared on a television program, I was told by a caller who called into that program, look, Oleg, get out of here. We bacchanal, we move along. And that's what we just go to political meetings to listen to. And all you want to tell people, behave yourself and speak only in diplomatic language. Well, Oleg, get out of here. That has remained with us. And those sorts of concerns have remained with us until now people say, well, they want to change, or they wanted to mash up the way we do politics. And that's not our concern. Our concern here is simply one, bring the level of our campaigning to a level where we focus on issues, not on personality. Forget the
so what you're saying is, given the shortcomings you've identified, which to me are significant in terms of being able to monitor with your limited resources, very limited at that. that the onus is on political entities to formally make the complaints when they feel they've been aggrieved?
The onus is on anybody, not only political entities, anybody. And in fact, I will tell you, following the uproar last week, when the Prime Minister deemed the council to be steeped in bias and unethical, we got 2 or 3 complaints. People saying they refuse to identify who they are, but these are our complaints. And they listed their complaints. Mind you, some of their complaints were some of the similar complaints that we've had before. I want to make one critical point here. And in fact, my point here relates to a release that came out from the PNM's Women League yesterday, which stated that the council had not chastised politicians from the UNC for statements they had made against the Prime Minister and whatever. When the council was set up, we were told you are only to be monitoring campaign activities from the start of the campaign to the election. Anything that happened before the campaign, that's not your business. You cannot go on because you are not.
Who would have told you that?
The founding organizations which founded the code.
So they dictated what and where and when you operate?
No. This code relates to campaign activities only. This is not a year-round monitoring process.
All right.
So
but do you think that's productive? Do you think that's productive? Because you just spoke about a caller who opined about political culture and what he or she feels is the appetite for bacchanal pecan confusion on the campaign trail as part of our political culture. Do you think it's productive then to only monitor when an election is called vis-a-vis the campaign, if we are to effectively change that political culture?
Yeah.
The simple answer to that question is no. It is not productive, but bear in mind, again, coming back to our limitations, we were told you are only monitoring campaign activities. That is why when an election date is announced, we immediately put out a release. We will now start monitoring this campaign.
Have you made interventions to the individuals or groups that were instrumental in forming the council? Given what you've stated are your clear shortcomings, your resource issues, for them to potentially intervene and provide more resources? Because I mean, at the end of the day, if we are forming and we have formed the Council for Ethical Political Behavior, there's a mechanism that, in your own words, has significant limitations, and the limitations are impacting, I would say, your ability to be more effective or as effective as you should be. Should there be some interventions to that founding group to provide more resources during the campaign period? As you said, it's not annual, it's not year-round, but certainly you want the council to succeed and be more effective.
And again, in response to that question that has been raised, and I will say, again, without fear of contradiction, when the council was set up in 2015, we were only in 2015, 2 groupings within, or 2 organizations within those founding organizations contributed some seed money for us. The Roman Catholic Archbishop, and I'm saying Archbishop, and Satmaraj from the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha. Both of them gave us money, which until today pays for our website hosting and other minor expenses we may incur. So for instance, in 2021, we needed to go to Tobago to get the political parties to sign on to the code. That seed money covered that. But since 2015, since that initial seed money absolutely nothing has come forward.
Have you intervened? Is the Chamber of Commerce one of those organizations who would have been fundamental in the formation, and have they contributed any money? You said two, and certainly not them.
And as I stated, only those two. Yes, the Chamber of Commerce is a member, is one of those founding organizations. I should also say, to give credit where credit is due, the Publishers and Broadcasters Association, they are also part of that founding organization. And in 2015 and in 2020, through the Publishers and Broadcasters Association, I think we had the Guardian and the Express do flyers, the code in a single page, which they distributed with their newspapers in 2015.
Now, something is occurred to me, Dr. Ragnath. You said there have been complaints and persons have sent links and or content of political meetings to you. A large part of where some of the offenses to me take place, because I monitor all sorts of media, is social media, the memes, the gifts that are very offensive to some political entities, persons, personalities, and in some instances their families, and in some instances, because you mentioned TTPBA, the political ads that are going to be going to radio stations and TV stations. Are you also monitoring those? Or would those have to be brought to your attention if people feel that they've breached the code?
They will have to be brought to our attention.
What about, well, I know that you said that you're only monitoring when the campaign starts, as I suspect from nomination day until the election day. What about the material that may have formed the basis of previous meetings or outside of a campaign being used during the campaign?
Once it is
used during the campaign.
During the campaign, we deal with it. If it's not related during the campaign, we can't deal with it. Right. Again, I use the example. In fact, like I said, from the PNM's media release, a statement Barry Pratt made in December of last year was put on the release. Why we didn't say anything about that? But it was not part and parcel of the campaign.
Right. So if it is that someone uses it during the campaign, you can then deal with it.
Once we pick it up and it's reported, or we pick it up, fine. Yes.
Have you ever made a pronouncement on some of the things Jack Warner has been saying on campaign? Because I think he probably has made some of the most reckless comments in election campaign, and he has done it again in this particular campaign. Have you had any complaints about him, and have you ever dealt with it?
So in this particular campaign, as far as I am aware, Jack Warner publicly mounted a platform last Monday.
Monday.
Prior to that, he was not on the campaign. He was not on any platform.
Right.
What we are dealing with is what was said on Monday coming forward.
So are you dealing with what he said on Monday? Is that a complaint to you?
It is something that is going to be dealt with.
Is there a timeline on a pronouncement by a public pronouncement by the council on that issue, or any other issue coming up?
Say that again.
Is there a timeline for the council to make pronouncements on issues that come to its attention? For example, you said you received a particular complaint on that Monday platform. Is there a timeline within which you respond to those complaints?
The council meets once per week. Our next meeting of the council will be on Wednesday of this week. Okay? So if a complaint was made last week, Tuesday, or last week, Wednesday, and was not dealt last week, it is going to be dealt with this week.
Are there plans to increase those meetings as we head closer to August 14th? And the frequency of meetings and pronouncements come out?
The council will have to determine that, and we will make that decision on Wednesday.
Can I ask you to take off one and put on the next hat? Can I ask you to take off one hat and put on the next hat?
I would
take off your council chairman hat and put on your political analyst hat.
I would prefer not do this in this particular interview. We started off with one thing. I want to stick with that.
Yeah, people will say what you say.
Yes.
Have you all considered, Dr. Ragnath, based on the challenges that you admit today that you have, just disbanding the group and forgetting about it, as was suggested by someone?
And my response to that, which is something that we've had in various other entities, I have no problem in disbanding something, but if you're going to disband something, give me a viable replacement and then disband. Because if you disband, then what? Are we saying it's a free-for-all again? And is that what some people want?
Well,
that leads to my next question. What can you do about preventing some of these comments and things? What measures can you take against political parties?
Okay, and that is why I keep saying we are toothless bulldog. All we could do is bark. We bark to ensure that the population is aware of what is happening in the event that they are not awakened by what is happening.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because as we close, have you put out any information that the public is aware of how to communicate what they suspect are breaches to you? And have you spoken to the chambers of commerce, the TTPBA, to make ads or PSAs to say, well, if you think that X has taken place, call this number or send an email to XYZ and report what you think is a breach, so the public is more aware of how they can communicate their issues?
In all our releases, we end by simply saying, this is our website. You could view the entire code. This is our email contact. Please communicate with us. In all our releases, you asked a question. When we went to the media, in fact, early in 2015, long before the election, we went to the media, notwithstanding that the TTPBA was a founding member. And we were told, Hiana, let me tell you something, election time, price of advertising goes up. And or you have no money, or they can't pay for this, right? And notwithstanding that you all are civil society, the mere fact that it's politics we're talking about and political behavior, you will be charged the political campaigning rate. That's what we were told in 2015. I would say that since then, I have not broached the topic again with any of the media houses, because we had developed and designed ads. Get to the point, say what you want to do. And when we took it to the media, we were told, it's not going to run, because the media is not going to give any free advertising space. The one thing they offered to do, and which the TTPBA pushed, was to print the entire code in a 2-page pullout to say people could get access to the code. But that is as far as they were willing to go.
All right.
Dr. Ragnath, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate your time and your contribution.
Thank you
so much. All right.
All right, this is where I say my goodbyes. Happy Emancipation Day, people, and please be careful and remember to let go and let God. Enjoy the holiday. I know I will.
Happy Emancipation Trinidad and Tobago. You'll be careful out there, and God willing, we see you Wednesday morning at 6 right here on Power Digital. We have news coming up next.
Bye-bye.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.